Well, hello, Hans. Thank you so much. It's wonderful to have you, as always.
Great to be here.
So my first question up, this is our quick fire round. Your company was one of our first to join the Valuable 500, and I'm just really interested to know why you personally thought it was an important move for your organization.
I think that our organization for a long time have had the core value of diversity, having all different parts of our society represented in our company, having an equal chance wherever you come from. That has always been a fundamental thing for Verizon. And of course, thinking about my customer base is exactly the same thing. I need to serve everyone in our marketplace, and I need to understand them. So I needed the diversity internally for making the right decision, and also making the right product, and see that I actually make products for all the people in our society that can actually have a chance to be connected. So for us, it has been in our genes and in our values for a long time. And of course, we try to get better all the time, learn more the time. And we think that this team, which you are leading, can bring a lot of value to us with sharing from other companies.
Well, the importance of the Valuable 500 is that we know that leaders make choices, and those choices create the culture. Are there things that you're particularly proud of that you're leading now in Verizon, and things that you're excited about for the future?
I think that historically we have given good benefits and accommodations for disability in our company. We can probably do more, but what I think I'm proud of, what we have our Verizon accessibility team that is an advisory group where a lot of disability people with disability in our company that gives us advice, because we don't see it every day, because you need to listen. So I'm proud of that. I'm also proud how we are working more and more and thinking about products for people with less visibility or hearing aid, to see that they can be part of our society, because we know that the 21st century's infrastructure is mobility, broadband, and cloud, working from home, doing healthcare from home, remote learning. You need to use these tools, and these tools historically wasn't thought like that, and we need to make them better and easier to use.
I think one of the big things that we've discovered with the Valuable 500 is quite a discomfort on C-suite and CEOs speaking about disability business inclusion for fear of getting it wrong. Do you remember the first time that you came personally in contact with disability business inclusion, or just disability in general?
Yeah, it was a long time ago. It was intellectual disability, where we started to work with leadership, how you lead people with different diversity that are intellectually disabled, because everyone has a strength. And what we learned from that leadership was, of course, you need to fortify the strengths rather than looking at the weaknesses. And when I worked in my previous employer, we brought this leadership in, how you manage people with intellectual disability. And then suddenly we saw that spreading in the whole society of Sweden, and employment started for this group. So yes, I was very early on, and it was actually a friend of mine that was running this organization for intellectual disability, and he taught me how I need to think about all the diversity is important, and you need to work on the strength of people rather than the weaknesses. And we actually educated, I think, 15,000 leaders at Ericsson when I was there, in this thinking that everyone matters and everybody can be part of something bigger and they can contribute. And I think that's where I started to learn it, and that's sort of going through my life since then. And this was probably some 20 years ago, easily.
But it does show you the importance of and power of collective. You know, it's not we're going to do this on our own. And I even think with COVID, you know, we're seeing this sort of new era of real collaboration, real collective action or coalitions. Have you seen a change or sort of the appetite around disability inclusion, or disability to be part of the inclusion conversation because of COVID and our advancement in the use of digital technology?
Yes, I have. I mean, first of all, normally in technology, we have a progression. So we develop products, technologies comes along. The COVID, which is is a brutal reality. Leapfrogged us when it comes to technology 5 to 7 years. We spoke about digital learning, remote healthcare. We talked work from home, but it was more talk. But of course, people were doing it. Now we brutally moved 5 to 7 years. Of course, that opened up challenges in our society, which we never thought about because we couldn't really capture it. And so the conversation is much broader right now, how quickly we need to solve the problem with accessibility to technology, the affordability of the technology, and then the usability of the technology. Because people sometimes say, hey, digital inclusion is that you have broadband. It's far more complex than that. Because first of all, you need to be able to afford the device, the plan needs to be right for you so you can use it. And then most important, it has to be application and things that you're doing with it that is actually usable for you. If it's a remote learning or digital healthcare or device that is actually speaking to you, if you have a hearing aid or whatever it might be. So that's why you need to work very broad when you talk about digital inclusion after the COVID. It's not after, we're in the midst of the COVID, but at least we are coming down a little bit. So clearly, totally new conversation and understanding the importance. And I always say that the 21st century's infrastructure is actually mobility, broadband, and cloud, because that doesn't matter who you are, where you live. You should have the same possibilities if you have those tools and they are catered for you.
You see, I think the nature of the industry you're in is you're a real role model just for what you say. And I've heard you speaking at Mobile World Congress about the broadest understanding of what inclusion and accessibility is, and the importance of inclusion as a competitive advantage in your value and supply chain. And I guess you live that, right? You see that. And so are you seeing now it's not making the case for this, but it's a risk if we don't do it, right?
Of course, it's a risk. I mean, it's a risk if we don't do it because, first of all, there are many disability employees and customers. I mean, so that's very important to see that they're part of it. The second piece of it is also that we're a large corporation. We need to see that we are doing the right things because our stakeholders are looking at us every day. I mean, when we think about our supply chain, we're probably one of the biggest procurer in this market. We spend some $18-20 billion a year only in capex, and our procurement is far bigger than that. We can impact who are our suppliers and how they should act and what type of rules we are setting for them. And that's why we have a very clear strategy, for example, for diversity suppliers and seeing that they have equal chance and actually winning, and we are helping them to succeed because that's the sort of the platform we have and the responsibility we have. But it's part of the strategy. It's not the charity, because sometimes charity is the first thing you cut when the company is not performing well. I love charity, no pun intended there, but I wanted to be part of our strategy. I want to supply a diversity supplier strategy. I want to see that when I do my big bonds, I have diversity on my banks, not only the big five. And that's part of what we can do. And that's sort of embedded in the strategy of Verizon. And we still have a lot more to do, but I think we have found the fundamentals to manage the four stakeholders: employees, customers, shareholders, and society, and they come together in one strategy.
I actually think it's exciting for us when you start hearing you speaking about the true supply chain and procurement, and that being embedded in strategy, not just that add-on. And I guess just as we finish off, we talk about this era, this new era of this disruptive decade, this human business. Do we believe that business is changing to really honor, planet, people, and purpose together? Do you think that's not just an ideal, but it could be a reality?
I have to say, I started to come to the World Economic Forum 2008, and I talked about digital inclusion. And I can tell you, they probably sent me outside the city of Davos. I would say, talking to all the CEOs that I do a lot, we serve 98% of the Fortune 500. It's clearly a commitment to take the responsibility for society. Then, of course, we could have done it faster and more forceful. But it's not that somebody says that that's not relevant for us anymore. Everybody talks about that the four stakeholders need to be served for a successful company, and we understand the responsibility. So the movement is much bigger, if that's for diversity or for planet or for people. I think we see that across the globe right now. And we need to have a concerted effort in order to combat some of the challenges we have on this planet right now. So hopefully it's enough and we're doing it quick enough.
Well, Hans Vestberg, thank you so much. We certainly have 500 of you and you are one of our iconic 13. Take care of yourself and we'll talk soon.
Thank you very much.